Okay, so from the data point of view, we figure out from this slide is that when somebody buys bread plus butter, okay, bread along with the butter, there is a high chance that they will buy milk also. Yes, Arun, very good basket analysis. Okay, so business can use this information that if people buy these things together, so if they buy these two things, there is a very high chance that this third thing they will also buy, or if they buy this one thing, there is a high chance they will buy this other thing. And it's not only the things, it's not only the items, it's the services also. It can be anything else. And this is the basis of all recommendation engines that you see in your daily life. You go on LinkedIn, they give you recommendation of if you make somebody, try to add somebody to your network, they give you suggestions. If you go on Amazon, Flipkart, if you go to Netflix, any website that you go, they give you some recommendation. People who have bought this have also bought this. Okay, and this is the basis behind finding relationships from the past data. And that's what data science, one of the use cases of data science is. It looks at the past data, finds out relationships. We also call them association rules out of the past data, and then use those rules for our business benefit in the future, make our marketing strategies like this. Probably this grocery store put milk along with the aisles of bread and butter so that it will be easy for the customers to buy these things. And this, this very basic thing has a lot of business value. How? 35% of Amazon sales, do you know, are generated through its recommendation engine. So they don't spend anything on advertisement cost for this 35% share, nothing in the marketing budget, only by looking at the past data, past customer buying behavior. They make recommendations, people click on those recommendations, and 35% of their sales comes from that. And it's a big chunk of their sales. So imagine the benefit to the business from this. That is the real use case of data science. It's not only to study, until unless we are using data science concepts to add business value, it's of no use to the business. Okay, so always keep that thing in mind. Okay, Neha, I'm going to share this PPT along with the recording of this session, people, so don't worry about it. Okay, everything that I'm showing you will be shared with you shortly. Okay, and it's not only for, groceries, or not only for e-commerce. Banks, if they utilize the same information, if somebody has bought these two services, they look at what is the third thing that most people buy along with these two, and based upon that they make their marketing strategies, they launch their campaigns and things like that. Okay, any service industry can utilize this information also to upsell, cross-sell their services. Okay, so what is data science, people? Again, this is one of the use cases. As we go through this journey, I'm going to talk about a lot of other use cases, but this is a big one. Okay, so data science is the study of where information comes from. Okay, the past data, what it represents, finding out the relationships between them, and how it can be turned into a valuable resource for business strategies. And data science is a combination of three main areas. Okay, domain knowledge, maths and stats, and computer science. And in this course, we're going to teach you a bit of everything. Okay, you need not to be expert in all of these three areas, but you should have some expertise in all three. Data science field is very demand, it's very much in demand these days, very popular, very, glamorous. Sometimes it looks that everybody's talking about data analysis and all of that. But believe me, people, it is as interesting as challenging also. Okay, so it's not like becoming a, let's say, database administrator or a Java programmer, where you just need technical knowledge of a tool or some concepts and you're done for the day. It's a continuous evolving field. So you cannot become a good data scientist unless you have information about your business. So domain knowledge plays a major role in the field of data science. Okay, some of that knowledge we will give you by talking about various domains and what are the terminologies used in those domains, how the business works in those domains. But much of that knowledge comes, when you start working in that field. Okay, so always keep your eyes, ears open to learn business also when you're working on any project or any assignment. Then comes maths and statistics. So maths, because again, we are trying to find out relationships from the past data. Okay, the insights from the past data. So some type of mathematics knowledge is required. So we're going to teach you a little bit about, I think, linear algebra and calculus, some part of it. And the statistics plays a major role. So we're going to teach you everything about some of the things that we learned in high school. What are the measures of central tendency, mean, median, mode, how to measure the variation in the data, how to draw various graphs, charts to represent the information so that it is easy to understand. Okay, as well as, we're gonna try to learn about the population using the sample. So all these things comes under statistics. And then finally, the computer science, we don't want you to be expert in that, but you should have some knowledge. For example, basic knowledge, like what is an operating system, how the data is stored in memory, and probably learn one language that helps us to read the data, the past data, which is stored in some type of file or some type of database, using that language, finding out the relationships from the data, the patterns from the data, trends in the data, and then use those observations, use those insights to make better business decisions. That's why we are learning Python today, because it is that language that we're going to use to utilize our domain knowledge and the knowledge of maths and statistics to read data, clean data, find insights from it, and then use those insights. Okay, and I'm hoping that you now understand where the Python fits in this puzzle of data science. No, Stephen, Python is not the only language for data science. There are many more, but it is the most popular one these days. Okay, many companies are investing in this language because of many reasons, and I'm going to talk about that. Okay. So again, this is a very famous article from Harvard Business Review, and it came long time back, people, 2012. But believe me, the relevance of this is still true these days. Probably more, this statement is more relevant these days. Okay, and the reason being data scientists in so much demand is the severe shortage of talent. Last couple of decades, there has been data explosion. The companies before who were not digitized now starting collecting data. They have become they have implemented digitization. So everything is digital now. All the data is stored somewhere, and they need people to analyze that data. Okay. Also, the storage capacity has become, very reasonable. We can store now huge amount of data at a very cheap price. The processing power of our processors have become, too too advanced. So we can also have the capability to process, to churn all this data, sometimes real time, sometimes near real time also. Directly impact business value, as you have seen with an example of Amazon. Organizations face enormous data challenges. Again, even organizations do not do how valuable their data is or what information they can get from their data. They don't even know what are the right questions to ask, which can be answered using the data. So the job of data scientists become very challenging also, because they have to also come up with the questions that can be answered from the data, that can help in the business. And again, it is this field is not only for Fortune 500 companies. It's not only the big companies are investing in it. Even the small mom and pop shop is also collecting data, digitizing it, storing it somewhere. They also want to process that data and find useful insights from it. So you can imagine there is no domain under the sun right now which do not need some type of analysis of their data. Okay. Yes, will the R language also be a part? No. The whole course, I think we're going to use Python from beginning to end. But I think if you ask upgrade people, they can provide you resources for R language also. And what is an R language, people? It's another language that is used for data science. But R language was developed for statisticians, for statistical analysis purpose. So it is more close to doing that than doing machine learning or various other, actions, various other work tasks that data science do. Okay, so it does not, our language does not have many machine learning algorithms. By default, the community is not that very active in comparison to Python. Stephen is asking, as data science engineer, are there any privacy rules while using organization data from all platforms that anyone follow? Yes, Stephen. So whenever you start working on a project, some guidelines have usually been set, that this is the data you can get from the organization. If there are some privacy issue, they anonymize the data, they removed all the personal information and then provide you the data. You can buy data from a third-party company. Again, there are various websites like Twitter, Facebook. They give you software to download their data, and only after all these privacy rules have been followed. Okay, so all these things go in the documentation of a project. There ethically, the data that we have collected is there is no ethics wise, there is no problem. Yes, Rohit, that's called anonymization, when you mask the critical information. Okay, so people, let me ask you this question after this discussion, and let's see you have understood what we've been talking about. Yes, people, I'm getting a lot of answers. Thank you so very much. Yes, and the right answer is D, all of the mentioned. By now, you know that it's not only one thing that you have to learn to become a good data analyst or a data scientist. It's a number of things: statistics, to know about the data, the story that data is trying to tell us using various statistical techniques, machine learning algorithms, where you let the machine learn the important patterns from the data and then utilize those patterns to make predictions for the future. Data visualization is a very important part, which is a sub part of storytelling. Okay, so until unless after you have found very useful insights from the data, until unless you cannot sell those to the business people, to the stakeholders, they're not going to use those insights to make business decisions. So you can you can sell those things using various charts, graphs, because mostly the business higher management, they are not very, technically, they don't like to, have very much technical knowledge. So they want to understand all these observation insight through a story, and the data visualization where we present the data in form of graphs, charts, very intuitive visualizations, which will help people to understand the data. Okay. Rakesh is asking, is Python language enough for cleaning data set and visualization? Should we work it through R2 for critical business strategies? No, Rakesh. As far as I know, Python is rich enough to provide various tools, techniques to clean the data, to visualize it. Probably this is one of the best language these days for all advanced visualization and all advanced data cleaning tasks also. Okay. So now let's start with our main topic, people. Python, it's a programming language. Actually, it's a language which can build complete solution, not only one part of it. It can help in data science, but other than data science also, it has so many use cases. You can build front-end applications, mobile applications, websites using Python. You can build a middleware layer to churn the data, to process the data. You can use it for back-end processes to create workflows. Okay, so it has a complete range of, I will say, tools and techniques to do various tasks. Stephen is asking, is the old age job role of data entry from companies like Infosys is now being remodeled, called as data science? Old job of data entry? I will not say that, Stephen. Data entry, no. The job of a data scientist or a data analyst is to extract data from some reliable source, clean it, make it ready to find patterns out of it, good patterns out of it, and then use those patterns to tell business the stories that how their business is going and how can they use those patterns to predict about their future. Okay, that is the role of a data analyst or a data scientist. Rohit is asking, is Python good only for projects related to data, or is it good enough for writing business rules also? Business rules. Rohit, as far as I know, every day Python is evolving. So there are various libraries to do specific job. So probably if you're looking for a specific task like writing business rules in some particular way, there must be some library which you can use to do that. Okay. Why Python language is required in terms of data science, not any other programming. So Subhajit, let's wait. Let me go through why Python is so popular. Okay. So this is one of the slides that shows this. Okay. So these are the percentage of overall question views each month. So many people are talking about Python, and when you talk about something, it means people are using that. Okay. So you will see that there has been incredible growth in Python in last decade or so. Okay, it means that people are using this language a lot, especially after this explosion in data. Okay, I have given a link here of a YouTube video which you can play later on, which shows you what is how Python has become the #1 language. The the evolution of it. Before there was C, then Java, and then now Python has become the most popular language. Okay, so use some of the use cases of Python. Netflix, it's a big user of Python, use it for statistical analysis, for many machine learning models, for security, for running experiments on the platform and analyzing that outcome. So they sometimes change the user interface and then see how the users react to that. They make their campaigns according to the patterns that they see in the data using Python. Okay, and Google uses it extensively. Okay, it's one of Google's 3 core languages. I think the other 2 languages is C++ and Java, and it's used in parts of infrastructure. NASA uses this for workflow automation. So workflow automation is first you do this, then this. So there is a workflow defined, and they use Python for that. Instagram uses to serve enormous amount of traffic each day using Python. And beside that, these are some of the top companies who are using Python to do one thing or the other. Okay, cloud. Yes, Stephen. When we are we have a data set which our servers can handle, even probably a laptop or a bigger server in our company, then we go with that. But when the data becomes very large and the processing that we do on it becomes complex, then the cloud is the solution, right? We just move everything on the cloud. There are many companies now provide all these facilities of storing our data or processing our data, and we can easily set up the environment within days in comparison to buy all the servers, all the infrastructure, install it, set it up, which used to take months. Okay. So what makes Python so popular? Okay, let's talk about some of its features now, people. Ease of learning it. Okay, if comparison to C, C++, Java, if you have any idea about those languages, the learning curve is pretty sharp. In comparison, Python is English-like language, and we're going to see it pretty soon when we're going to start coding. Okay, it has clear and intuitive syntax, readable and organized code blocks. Its USP, its various libraries to do various types of jobs. So you need not to start from scratch. If you want to do some particular task, there is a good chance that somebody has already talked about that task and solved that problem in some library and has provided you the code, ready-made code in those libraries. You just plug in that library and use its various functions to do your job. Okay, so handy collections of functions or utilities that makes tasks easier. For example, if you want to you create visualizations, there is a library for that. If you want to do some statistical analysis, there is a library for that. If you want to run some machine learning algorithm, there is a library for that. If you want to process IoT data, there is some library for that. If you want to do some specific task related to, let's say, banking industry, there is some library given by Python community to do that task, which makes our life very, very easy. Okay, again, very active community. Every day there is the new libraries are coming, existing libraries are getting improved, new machine learning algorithms are coming, better, faster. Okay, so there is also very active discussion forums, and Kaggle is one of the website that we're going to talk about it, where the activity is pretty, the community is pretty active. If you are stuck somewhere, have some specific problem, you ask the experts and you can get a solution of that very easily. Okay. Building new open source applications and packages. So Python is very powerful language. It can process trillions of transactions. It's a general purpose language. It means that you can create front-end programming, can do front-end programming, middle tier programming, back-end programming, web-based programming. Okay. Platform independent. It means it works well on Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac. Okay, open source, it's freely available. Okay, object-oriented structure. Again, If you are familiar with the OOPS concepts, there we create a small object, which is a self-sufficient object having its own function, having its own data, which does specific task. You reuse those objects again and again without writing your own code from the scratch. Okay, you can create objects from objects, thus reusing much of the code, okay, which makes again our programming very, very easy. Okay. Stephen is asking, when you say ML algorithm, you mean NumPy library which support data science, you mean? No, Stephen. So people, algorithm is nothing but a set of code. Okay, it's a block of code that we called it as an algorithm, which does some specific task. So there are various libraries available in Python to run these algorithms, various algorithms. For example, if we want to predict something which is numeric in nature, let's say house price. Okay, for that there is a separate machine learning algorithm. If you want to predict whether a person is diabetic or not based upon his data, that is, we are trying to predict a categorical column. So for that, there is a different machine learning algorithm. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of these. We're going to teach you all of these algorithms also. And these algorithms are stored in some library, which has already been given by the Python community to be used by us. And NumPy is another library that is not for machine learning, Stephen. NumPy stands for numerical Python, which helps us to do many mathematical calculations, numerical tasks on the data. And we're going to teach you that also. Okay, Rohit is asking, preset APIs written that help in analysis. Yes, absolutely. Okay, Dantum is saying, can we have questions a little bit? Okay, so don't worry, Dantum. I'll try to keep a balance. So I want to answer questions also, and I'll make sure that the flow also does not get affected. Okay. Srinivas is asking, Java is also having some features, right? What is the reason that why not choosing Python? So again, people, Java was not developed keeping data science in mind. Okay, its community is not that active in perspective of data science. It has a sharp learning curve also. That is the reason Java is not very famous for data science purpose. Okay, Fanil, don't worry. We're going to talk about the libraries for model learning. Okay. Murli, that you check with the upgrade people. Okay. Many these two courses, data science and ML, share many topics. So Python is one of them. Okay. So let's move forward, people. So again, we can use Python for web development, front-end, back-end web development, AI, and that is where our main focus will be. Python has huge set of library which allows a data scientist to look into the data cleaning, preparation, storage, management, and usage. And it has functional application also. So if you're working in some particular domain and want to do the tasks in that domain, for example, banking, financial services, IoT, cybersecurity, healthcare, there are some libraries available specific for that domain which can be utilized. Okay. And if somebody wants to do comparison of Excel versus Python, Python wins, I think, hands down, especially when you are dealing with large amounts of data. Okay, Excel is again time consuming. To do a particular task, it will take a lot of time, which can be done very easily in 1 or 2 lines of code in Python, which you will see shortly. Debugging mistake, let's say we have done 10 things in Excel file, and now if we want to go back to the 8th thing, it's not that easy, so debugging mistakes is not that easy in Excel, which is can be done very easily in Python. Again, Excel does not have very high level statistical operations, and again, you have to buy MS Office, which itself, it's a huge cost, while Python is freely available. Okay, a little bit about history of simplicity. Okay, so this is a person is a he's probably say who conceptualized Python, Guido van Rossum, and his mantra was anybody can code, right? Similar to anybody can dance. Okay, so he wanted to make the language so easy that anybody should be able to code. He conceptualized in 1980. So people imagine something that was conceptualized 40 years back. Today in this class, we are learning it again. So there must be something very good in this language that it is still relevant after 40 years. Okay, so again, contrary to the myth that the name Python came from snake, it's not true. Rossum was a big fan of Monty Python's Flying Circus comedy show, in UK. Like we have Kapil Sharma show. They used to have Monty Python's Flying Circus comedy show in UK. He was a big fan, and from that he picked up the name Python. Okay. Rakesh is asked, even though Python is very good compiled, good language, how many libraries should we learn or noted when I work on real-time scenarios? So Rakesh, how many libraries? As we go along this journey, you will come to know, okay, for specific task, which library to use. But I can give you a just brief answer that numpy, pandas, matplotlib, and scikit-learn, these are some of the libraries that you're going to use. Some for numerical capabilities, some for doing data cleaning, data management, data visualization, and machine learning. Since there are so many libraries in Python, how will we know which library? Again, it comes with practice. Nikhat, when you are every day working with the data, so these libraries, you will just remember it after 1 or 2 assignments. Okay, so don't worry about that. It's like learning any new thing. When you practice, it becomes part of you. Okay, and again, so you have to install something called Anaconda to start coding in Python. And step-by-step guide will be provided to you. I think it has already been uploaded on Upgrad, just check. And so you just have to download this software called Anaconda, install it, just pick the default options, and I don't think there should be any problem for you to install this software. And Python, again, Anaconda, you can imagine it's an umbrella software. Under that, there are many applications. Python can be written using many tools, people. Just remember that. There are many IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, under which you write Python. So there are many IDEs available, and I'm going to use that one, which is the easiest one to start with. Okay, so when you install Anaconda, it's going to install something called Anaconda Navigator. If you open it, it looks like this. There are many applications under the umbrella software Anaconda. Okay, one is called Jupyter Notebook, Qt, Console, Spider, and many more. Okay, and these are some of the IDEs to code in Python or in R. So they have many applications even to code in R. Okay, and again, so every application does a specific, is famous for doing some specific task, right? So IPython is to write something on the command prompt. Spider is to write only the code, execute it, and when we are deploying our solutions, we use Spider IDE for that. And then there are many more. But we're going to use this one called Jupyter Notebook. The name Jupyter comes from the combination of Julia, Python, and R. So people, Julia is another language, programming language for data science. It is also becoming very popular. You can say it's a new kid on the block. Okay, so the benefit of using Jupyter Notebook is that, you imagine writing, if you're using any other language, let's say you have to do a particular task. How do you do it? So many times we create one file to write the code, then for another file to write the documentation, what this code is doing. And then probably there is a third file, which is the output of that code. But in Jupyter Notebook, because we are analyzing the data, we want to see the result there and then, not in another file. So the USP of Jupyter Notebook is that it has all these three things in the same file. You can write code, you can see the output in the same file, you can write the documentation in the same file. So let's say I'm creating a bar plot of this column. This is my documentation. I'll write the code for that, and the output, a bar plot, will be in the same file. Then I'll write, okay, this bar plot is telling us that our major sale is in the northern region, in the age group of, let's say, 18 to 30. So these type of observations, these type of documentation, we can done there and then along with that bar plot, which makes our analysis very intuitive, and somebody else also to understand it, instead of opening 3 files and then figure it out what exactly the output is. We can do all of these in the same file. That's why Jupyter Notebook is the most popular IDE, especially for the beginners. Can I use PyCharm instead? Why is Jupyter famous for data science? Again, this is the reason. Hopefully now you have gotten it, Murli. You can use any other IDE. I recommend you to use Jupyter Notebook if you are new to Python. And we're gonna all these 4 sessions, and probably later on also in this course, we recommend you to use Jupyter Notebook, because the assignments that we'll give you, we expect that you submit Jupyter Notebooks for those assignments. Okay, so Jupyter Notebooks allow documentation, code, and inline output in the same file. Allows you to have detailed remarks and comments along with the code and output. Powerful documentation that contains all these elements. So in the same file, when you are explaining a bar plot or you are doing some documentation, you can add a URL of another website, you can add an image, you can add a video, a lot of things can be done even while creating documentation in this Jupyter Notebook, and allows for rich formatting options. If you are familiar with the HTML, which is used to create all these fancy websites, all the HTML tags can be used for rich formatting effect in Jupyter Notebook also. Yes. Bhargav, yes, I'll talk about Google Colab in a bit. Okay. So Google Colab is like having Jupyter Notebook not on your laptop, but on a cloud, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Okay. Let me now, people, share my whole screen, because I'm gonna now start coding, and I'm gonna show you how the Anaconda looks like on my machine. Okay, so I'm opening Anaconda Navigator. It's gonna take some time. People, please write a quick yes in the chat window if you are able to see my whole screen now. Great. Okay, so you're gonna start Anaconda Navigator. Okay, and it looks like this. So there are many applications underneath it. This is for command prompt. Jupyter Lab is to take care of all of your Jupyter notebooks. It's like a file explorer, but for the Jupyter notebooks. Then there are various other things. When we are deploying our solution in the production people, then we do not need the output and the documentation of Jupyter notebook. So we save it in simply a code file. And that file can be created using Spider. So there are many more things. We're going to talk about all those. So there is RStudio also, using which you can create your, you can do coding in R also. As we go along, we're going to talk about various other things. But today we're going to start with Jupyter Notebook. So you can launch it from here. You can simply launch it from command prompt also by writing Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so there are various ways of starting a Jupyter notebook. When you start it, it's going to open a web page for you in your browser. Okay, and it's going to show you, it's going to take you to your C drive. By default, it's going to take you to your C drive. You can also change its settings to open it in D drive or F drive or any other drive. So this is just all of your file structure. So I'm going in a specific folder where I want to create our Jupyter notebook. So upgrade, Python crash course, and MLC27. Okay, so you go to a folder where you want to create a new Jupyter notebook, and then you go here on the right hand side, there is something called new, and then say new Python 3. And it's going to open another tab for you. And this is your very first Jupyter notebook. Let's talk about its interface a little bit. So this is the name of the file. Okay, I will change it my first Jupyter notebook. You can give it any name. Blanks you can also give. Oh, this is the name of the folder. Sharath, don't worry. You can create your own folder. This is the name of the folder. Okay. Venkatesh, Python 2 and Python 3. Again, Python 2 was an older version of Python 3. Okay, so you don't need Python 2. Python 3 is the one which is the latest one, which is we're going to use for all our coding. It is much better than Python 2. Okay, so rename. And when you rename it, and if you go to your file explorer people in this folder where I have created this new file, you will say that this file has been created as my first Jupyter notebook.ipynb. It stands for Interactive Python Notebook. Okay, so all Jupyter notebook files have this extension ipynb. Okay, so going back here, file, you can create a new notebook from here. Also, you can open another notebook. You can make a copy, save as, rename, download as HTML. If you want to share it with somebody, only want the code, you can save it as .py. You can save it as PDF and many other formats. Okay, you can then go in edit. So cut cells. So everything in Jupyter Notebook is done through these cells. So what are these cells? These are these rectangular boxes. You see, I can create more cells. So these are called cells. Yes, Jupyter supports Python and Java only. Jupyter is just the interface to write code in Python. Okay, only in Python. So you have created a file for Python only. Okay, not for Java. I think you can create, probably create a file for to write code for Java also, but I think you need to change some settings. But basically, this is to write Python. Okay. So these are called people cells, and you can add more cells. You can cut, paste, copy move cells from up, above, down. You can run these cells. Okay, so all these menus, I want you to just play around with it after the session. Okay, kernel is the brain behind the processing of these cells. Okay, so kernel is the software that runs all these cells, the code. Okay, and people, these cells are of two types, mainly of two types. Okay, code and documentation. Okay, so by default, all the cells are code, means you are trying to write code in these cells. So for example, let's say I want to print hello world text. So I will write print, again, people English like language, right? Print hello world. If you think about doing this in Java or C, if anybody is familiar, you have to at least write 5-6 lines of code to print hello world. Here it's one line, print hello world, in parentheses, in double quotes. You can use single quote also for any text. You can use double quotes also. And then this is my cell and I want to run it. So I will run it like this. And the output is also written here. So told you all the three things in the same file, code, output. Okay, and cell can be, so by default cells are code. So this is written here, it's a code, but you can change it to documentation also. For that, you have to click on this drop down and change it to markdown. Don't worry about raw and heading. We're going to talk about these later. Let's concentrate only on these two things, code and markdown. So I'm now changing it to markdown. See, the cell has changed a little bit. And now this is the markdown cell, means some documentation you want to do in it, something you want to write, which you don't want to run as a code. Okay, so I just want to write, this is my first Python notebook. I am loving it. Okay, so when I run it, this is not the code. Okay, this is just the documentation I want to do. So Python recognizes that, Jupyter Notebook recognizes that. If I run it, it's just gonna show this documentation on the screen, not gonna run it like a code. Okay, and as I told you, you can use all the HTML tags in it also. So if anybody is familiar about HTML tags, so B tag is used to make something bold. So, and this is the ending tag. So if I type like this, you'll see that this has become bold. You can add URLs of another website. You can add videos in the documentation. You can add images. A lot of things can be done to make even the documentation very fancy. Okay, and you can use this Jupyter Notebook for your presentation also to the higher management, right? So people who are a bit technical, you can use this notebook as such to show them, okay, so this is the bar plot, this is showing our sales, this region is doing well, these are our top 5 products. Okay, they can ask, okay, show me the top 7, not top 5. Immediately you change a little bit of code and then show it again according to their need. Stephen, when you're working on a real project, probably there are a lot of team members there. So probably the project manager will divide all the tasks in different Jupyter notebooks. So that is also doable. But for this course and probably for the assignments that we will give you, you have to do everything in one Jupyter notebook. Yes, Hardeep, we can run all cells in one go. Just wait, I'm going to show everything to you in a bit. Okay, So people, this again, let's talk about a little bit about documentation. Many times you want to create headings. So that's, for example, now I'm writing code to do data cleaning. Okay, so I want to highlight data cleaning heading as a heading. So what I can do, I will change this cell as markdown. There is a special symbol. This pound sign works as a heading. Okay, so I can write title 1. Okay, I can use 2 pounds. It will make the heading a little smaller. I can use 3. Okay, to make this, I can use 4 to make it smaller and smaller. Okay, this way we can create headings, subheadings, and so on. Okay, and let's create some code. X is equal to 10, and I will say Y is equal to 20, and I'll talk about all of this code, people, just don't worry. And I will return X plus Y. Okay, it's going to return me 30. Okay, now I can write multiple lines in the same code also. And let's say I make changes in it. If I make changes in the code, I have to run it again with the new changes. Okay, if it's a long file and instead of running each cell one by one, you can run all the cells together also. Okay, run all. So run cells, only the cell where the cursor is. Run cells and select below, run cells and insert below, run all above, run all below. Okay, so all these options are available for you. Okay, for example, let's say you just want to clear all the output, you can go in all output and clear, and it's gonna clear all the output. You want to run all the cells, go cell, run all, and it's gonna run it. Now, what is these numbers, people? This number is nothing but how many cells we have run in this session. It's not 1, 2, 3 every time. So if I run this cell again, it's going to change from 5 to 6. Okay, so it just gives you a number that how many cells have been run in this Jupyter session. It doesn't mean much. Okay. Jigya, to make the text italics, find that code, find that tag. Okay, that's a HTML question. Okay, so I think I is the one. I'm not sure for italics thing. Again, this is not Python. This is HTML. You just search for what particular type of style you want. I'll come to that, Binju. So just wait, okay, for your question. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so this was the introduction to Jupyter Notebook. Okay, you will not see this commit button because I have downloaded some other software for this commit button. So if you don't see this, don't worry. This is not by default available. Okay, so let me now go back to the PPT. So people, this is how we're going to proceed. So we're going to start with 1 and 2, which are what are the most basic data types. What type of data can be stored in Python? What kind of operations can be done on those different types of data? Data structure is, you can say, an advanced data type. Okay, and then the control structures, how we can build our logic. That comes under control structure, if, then, else, writing loops, all those things. Then we're going to do comprehensions. Comprehensions are concise way of writing code, and we're going to talk about these in details. We're going to learn how we can write our own functions. and then, the libraries. So people, as we start with these sessions, I'm gonna make it clear that in this 4 session, we're gonna learn the very basics of Python. It is possible that when you become an expert and you wanna just use the libraries that have been written using these basic codes to do your day-to-day job. So you will sometimes wonder, all these basic things, you are never using it in your day-to-day job. Okay, but because you're using the advanced commands from the libraries to do your tasks, but still it's very important to learn the fundamentals before you start coding the advanced commands. It is like learning English language or any other language. Remember, when we started in nursery KG, we started with alphabets. Then we learned what is a subject, predicate, object, conjunctions, propositions, right? All those things, various clauses. Today, when we write in English, read in English, or speak in English, we never, remember that, okay, so which conjunction to use, how to make this sentence, because we have become an expert in it. But we could not have become expert until unless our fundamentals were not clear. The same approach applies here. So you will wonder that these basic commands that I'm going to teach you, probably many of them you will not use in your, day-to-day life later on when you are coding with Python. But remember, these are the fundamentals. Until unless the foundation is not strong, you cannot build a strong building on it. So please take this session like that. Is this course for all NPL, ML, AI? Hardik, just check the curriculum for the course. Okay. Is it possible to convert notebook commands to Linux OS, or do we have to code in different kind of Python coding? No, the same code will work in Linux operating system also, Stephen. Okay, great. Okay, so these are the building blocks, people. We're going to talk about what are variables, different data types, operators, loops, conditions, functions. Okay, let's start with variables. Variables are reserved memory locations to store values. For example, there is a variable named cars. It is storing value 50, miles 43.60, name Camry. Okay, so let's start coding, people. So what I have done for ease of use, people, I have already created a notebook, a Jupyter notebook with all the documentation. Okay, and it will also give us what commands we should, important commands we should learn. So what I have done, I have created this shell of this notebook. All these cells are markdown cells, so that the documentation is also there, already there, and I need not to write it during the session. It will save me a lot of time. Okay, and I'm going to code here, but the documentation I have already provided to you in forms of markdown cells. Okay, so let's start again. The very first thing that we do whenever we start learning a language is to write a hello world program and see its output on the screen to see that the environment has been properly set and we are ready to code. Okay, so again, I remember when I started my journey in Java, it took me 3-4 days to set up the environment, to install every software and do all the settings, and to write my first hello world program. Here it was, I think, the 10-line code to write hello world. Okay, and here, as I told you, it is like this. Okay, there are various shortcut keys available also to run the cell. Okay, so I can run this cell using run. I can also use a shortcut key. So if you see, run cells. Control Enter. I can run this shortcut key. Shift Enter is to run cell and take the cursor to the next cell. And Alt Enter is to run that cell and insert a new cell below. Okay, so I'm going to use this shortcut key many of times. People, Shift Enter. Okay, so if I press here, Shift, along with Shift Enter, it's easy for me, and you will see it's going to run the code and take the cursor to the next cell. Yes, Vijender, this notebook will be shared with you. Don't worry. I'll share it immediately after the end of the session. Okay, so don't worry about writing code, people, on your own. I'm going to share this code with you. If you are familiar with Python, pretty comfortable, you can code along with me if you want, but otherwise just listen to me. How to delete the unused cell? Okay, so again, if I have something which I want to delete, I can just simply cut this cell. Okay, so you can use Python as a calculator also, people. 24 into 56 plus 89. Again, Shift Enter, and it's going to work like calculator. All the BOD-MAS concept applies here also. Many times whenever we are coding something, we want to put comments. It's always a good idea to telling everybody that what you're doing in this cell. Okay, you can either use a markdown cell for that, or you can write the comment in the code itself using the pound key. Okay, so hash or the pound key. Okay, this is a single line comment. Okay, so if I run it, it's not gonna run this thing. It's gonna take it as a comment and only run this code. Okay, many times you want to write comments which are of 10 lines long. So let's say you are explaining some logic that you are writing. So you can write your comment in multiple lines using 3 quotes, 3 single quotes. Okay, and then start with variables. A variable is a name that refers to a value, no declaration required. So if anybody is familiar with C and Java, there we have to first tell the language that you are defining a variable of data type integer or float or something like that. In Python, there is no need. You can just write x is equal to 5 without telling the system that x is a numerical variable. It will automatically look at the value and think that x is declare the x as a numerical variable. Okay, Python is a case sensitive language. The variable name must starts with A to Z or underscore. It can be any length and so on. And there are some reserved words you should not use for the variable name. Okay, so x is equal to 5. People, now what I'm doing, I'm hitting a shortcut key, Alt Enter. Alt Enter will run this cell and create a new cell for me. It comes handy when I'm writing continuous code. Alt Enter. Type of x. So I just want to find out what is the data type of x variable. And if I run it, it's going to tell me it's an integer variable. If I can redefine this variable, overwrite it, I'm now saying x is equal to 5.9. And if I write the type of x, it will become float now. Okay, similarly, if I say x is equal to AA and type of x is going to tell me it's a string data type. Okay, so you can define, you can do multiple assignments. Okay, for example, you can write it like this in Python: x comma y comma z is equal to 2 comma 3 comma 4, and it's gonna and print x comma y comma z. Okay, and out is equal to x plus y plus z, print out. And you'll see that in one go you can do multiple assignment. X gets 2, y gets 3, z gets 4. And you can use this to create another variable and find that variable also. Stephen, Alt Enter. Alt Enter to run and add new cell. Okay, now people, you have noticed sometimes I write print, sometimes I just write the variable like that. Now, what is the difference? So let me tell you the difference here also. Why we need print, and why we can't just write the variable name like that. Okay, so let me give you an example. X is equal to 10, print X. Okay, I can either write X or print X. Okay, both will work. Let me try this one. So it has outputted the value of X, which is 10, and it has given us out this thing also. Okay, I can write the same thing as print X. The only difference here is it's just going to print X on the screen without giving this output thing, red thing. Okay, so both are same. Then what is the difference? Okay, difference comes when you start writing multiple lines in the same cell. Okay, let's say I say X is equal to 10, Y is equal to 20. Okay, I want to write X, I want to print X and print Y. Let me run it. I only gotten 20, not 10. Why? Because how the Jupyter notebook is coded is that if you only give the name of the variable, it can output only one line of code. The one line of code, one line it can output, and it returns the last variable output here. It has given X also, but X output was overwritten by Y because it can only return one line, not multiple things. That's why if you are writing multiple lines in the code and you want to print multiple things in different lines, this will not work. Here you have to definitely give print X and then print Y because you want multiple outputs out of it. Okay, so that's why it's always a good idea to use print command to print all the variables. Okay, but you'll see, just to save time, because I am just teaching it to you, many times I just simply give the variable name and not write print because I know that in that cell only one output is there. Is this file is auto-save, Hardik? Yes, but it's always a good idea after some time to save it again by using Control S or by saying file save. Save as or save. Control S will work, save and checkpoint. Okay, I hope this is clear, the difference between sometimes why I only write X and why I write print X. If we don't want auto-save, Neha, just check again. Must be some setting which you have to do to make it disabled. Okay, just search for it. Okay, great. Let's move forward, people. You can also do multiple assignment using A1, A2, A3 is equal to 10 and print A1, comma, A2, comma, A3. Okay. Let's move forward, people. Data types and data structures. What is the difference between them? Data structures you can imagine like advanced data types. So what are the built-in basic data types? Integer, floating point, string, Boolean values. And the advanced data types, we also call them data structures, are lists, dictionaries, sets, and tuples, which we will learn tomorrow. Shubhi, I'm coming to conversion. Just wait. Stephen, data type of is issued that when into float. I will talk about the typecasting in a bit. So people just wait. Okay. So people, so we can write, let's say, int 1 is equal to 23, float num is equal to 1.3, string is equal to blue, Boolean is equal to true. Okay, and if you type the print type of int1, it will be integer, float num, float. Let's do string, and let's do type of Boolean variable, and it's going to tell you this is string and this is Boolean. Okay, now many people are asking, can you change from one data type to another? Absolutely yes, by using these functions: int, string, float, bool, etc. Let's try it. A is equal to 23. Okay, let's print, let's change it to float, print it. It's not going to change the original variable. I'm just converting it to float and printing it. It's not going to change the original variable. Print string of A, print bool of A. So this way you can convert any data type to another data type. So float will be 23.0, string will be 23, and bool will be true because there is some value in it. Boolean is true. Okay, I don't advise you to create a variable named str. Whenever you see this green thing, it means it's a reserved word. You can create this variable, but later on when you try to use this function will not be available string. And you will think why it is not working, and then it can create a lot of confusion. So it's an advice that whenever you define a variable and it turns green, it means that it's a reserved word. Do not use it. One byte for one character. Pranav, the storage. 1 byte for one character. Okay, so again, there are many operators that you can use on these data types. I have listed down everything in this markdown cell, people. I want you to try each one of that. Given the time, I'm going to show you few of them. Okay, so let's talk about arithmetic operations. Again, these are very easy ones. I'm not going to spend much time. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 7. You can do A plus B, A minus B, all these things. Okay, so print A, B. It's going to give you the division. Okay, you can also do A. This is floor division, which means it will give you just the quotient with 2 slashes. Okay, you can also do a percentage B, which is gonna give you remainder, and you can also do A raised to the power B, which is gonna give you exponential. How to restrict number of decimals? Again, people, I'm going to talk about various functions. I'm going to give you the list of all the functions, but a quick answer is use something called round, not here, here. Round to. Hardik, I'm coming to that. Okay, so this was arithmetic operators. I want you to try, with various other values of a, b. Okay, then there are assignment operators. Let's say increment variable called inc. You can also do something like this. So what will this do? This is same as writing inc is equal to inc plus 1. Okay, so this is, you can do plus equal, minus equal, into equal, and that's going to do exactly the same thing. Only this sign will be changed. Okay, you can run various comparison operators. Let's say A is equal to 5, B is equal to 10 by 2. Okay, let's print 1 comma A is equal to B. So people, 1 equal sign is for assignment, 2 equal sign is for comparison. Okay, remember that 1 equal sign is for assignment. Here I have done assignment. I have assigned 5 to A. 2 equal signs are for doing comparison. Can somebody tell me, logically thinking, what should be the answer of this statement? Print this. Why false? 10 by 2. Python is smart enough. If it's comparing it with integer, it's going to change it to integer the b, and it's going to return true. Okay, you can do less than, greater than, less than, equal to, all these things you can do. Okay. Okay, you can try, let's try a few more things. Not equal to. Okay, you can also try with Boolean operators. So what do you think, people, this should give me? The number 4. Oh, 1, 2 is just because, I am just to ask questions properly. That's why I'm giving them numbers. So I'm asking you, give me the answer of number 4. So that's why I'm printing 4 in this statement. That's the only reason. So you can print many things with comma, comma, comma also. Okay. So people remember true and false, like in our normal intuitive thing. So when we use AND operator, it means everything needs to be true to return true from the whole comparison. So true and false, because there is false here, everything needs to be true. It's gonna return false. Okay, but when I do print 5 true or false, or means either one of this should be true, and it's gonna return true to us. Okay, if customer name starts with A, or the address is this, it's gonna return, that condition will become true. Okay, so here it's gonna return true. Okay, last thing, you can also use not also. So what do you think, people? True and not false. What do you think? The number 6 returns. Okay, so again, logical thinking, true and not false. Not false means true. So true and true. So it's gonna return true to us. Okay, you can combine these things also in one go. For example, let's say a is equal to 15. You can also say something like that. Print a greater than 10 and a less than 20. So you can combine these things also. So what do you think, people? What should one returns? Yes, one should return true. What about two, people? Okay, second one also returns true. Why? So a is greater than 20, false. False and something. It doesn't even look at it. It's going to return false. Not of false, true. Okay, so I want you to try all these various combinations with and, or, not, okay, and all these things. You just try it on your own to build your understanding about all these various operators. Okay, great, everyone. Just looking at some of the questions in question and answer section. Yes, people, this course is about AI ML. Absolutely. Okay. To do machine learning, to do AI, we need some language to, do all the processing, and Python is the language for that. That's why we are learning this language. Okay, great. Let's move forward, everyone. Now let's talk about a very important data type called string. It's a very important one because most of our data is stored which we want to process in the form of strings. Okay, talk about social media data, talk about emails, messages, our customer information, our product information, our product catalog. Okay, all this information is stored in form of strings. So it's a very important data type, and we're going to learn about this data type in detail. Okay, I want you to go through the documentation. Okay, but first let me start with some of its operations. Okay, now you know how you can define a string variable. You can use single quote, you can use double quote. Okay, let me define a string called Monty Python and give it a name, let's say customer name. Okay, and if I talk about the type of cust name, it's gonna give me string. Okay, if I, oops, sorry. Okay, so what will be the output of this, people? Can somebody tell me? Okay, so people, a very important lesson here to learn. This is gonna throw us an error saying that Python does not know this variable cust underscore name. Please remember this from now on, that Python is case sensitive. It doesn't like, so whatever you have defined, you have to call it exactly like that. Okay, so this is going to throw us an error. Customer name is not defined. So people, make sure that whenever you're defining variables, you call them with the exact same name. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Okay, you can also get input from the user on the fly also using this function called input. Okay, so enter your name. Okay, So I'm asking the user to enter their name on the screen, and I'm going to store this in a variable called name, and then I'm going to print welcome, comma, name. Okay, let me run it. It's asking me enter your name, and then enter, and it's going to print welcome, Reena. So anytime you want to get an input from the user, this is the function to use. Okay, then no, Hardik, you can use single quote and double quote. It doesn't affect performance. Okay, if you know that your string can have a single quote in itself, then define it using double quotes, and vice versa. That is the only thing you need to remember. Okay, string concatenation. You can do string concatenation, people, using plus sign. So plus sign is very smart. If you pass numbers to it, it's going to add. If you pass string to it, it's going to concatenate. Okay, so this concept is also called abstraction, fancy name, right? When the operator are smart enough, it's also called operator overloading, if anybody has heard about this thing, where the operator is smart enough, depending upon the inputs that you give, it acts accordingly. Okay, so it's going to give Monty Python. I'm not happy with this. So what I can do something like this. Oops. Okay, you can also use multiply operator here, and it's going to do the repetition those many times. Okay, so multiply by 25, it's going to repeat it 25 times. Okay, you can also find length of a string by using a function called length. Rakesh, just wait. I will talk about indexing. So people, this is how I have designed my Jupyter notebook. I will not miss anything. Okay, so just wait for the right time. Just wait for the end of the session. If still I have not talked about something, then ask. Okay, so I'm going to cover I cannot cover everything, people, but I'm going to cover all the important things in this session. Why is Monty Python gives in small quotes? Because that's how Jupyter Notebook has been designed. So whoever designed Jupyter Notebook, there are some set rules that they have coded. So they have coded that all the string output should be in single quote. Yes, space is also considered as a character. So length will count space also. Okay, so people, I've been telling you how to do something using functions. So whenever we write the function name first, and then in parentheses, pass the string or number or any other variable, we are calling function. Because Python was written by many people have contributed. So some functionalities can be achieved using functions, like here length of customer name, and some functionality can be achieved using methods. What is the difference between function and method? Function, you call it like this, length of cust name, and method, you call it like this, cust name. You write the name of the variable first, then dot, then the name of the method. Let's say one of the method is change it to uppercase, and method needs to be ended with empty parenthesis. So whatever the variable is cust name, remember we defined cust name here. Where was it? Here. So it's going to use this variable's data, people. It has nothing to do this with this. I have shown you only for the plus operator. People, hope this is clear. Hardik? So you can define a variable in the beginning and you can use that at the end of the Jupyter notebook. It's going to remember it, right? That's why we are using variables. Okay, so this is the syntax. You have to use the empty parenthesis, and I'll talk about more when we going to define our own methods, right? So just now remember, you have to put the empty parenthesis. Okay, then run it. Okay, it has converted it to uppercase. It has not changed the original variable. Original variable is still the same. It's just change it for the output purpose, change it to uppercase. You can save it in another variable, uppercase, something like that. Okay, but it has not changed the original variable. Okay, now this is called a method. This was called a function. This was called a method. And with practice, you will come to know that which thing can be done using functions, which can be done using methods. 90% of the work is done using methods. Okay, there are various methods available for string data type. I have given here the link. I want you to go through this link after the session and try to get familiarized with all these methods. Capitalize, case fold, center, count, encode, with all the documentation and some examples also. Okay, let me show you a few of the methods. Okay, let's try starts with, so cust name dot, and people, this is another cool thing I want you to notice. Okay, so you can write the variable name. First of all, you can write CUS. If you hit tab, it's going to automatically do autofill, because they in this memory of this session, of this Jupyter notebook, CU, there is only one variable with starts with CU, so it's going to autofill. Let me show you again. CU tab, and it's going to do autofill. Okay, Neha, function and method. Again, Python was written by many people. Some functionalities have been given using functions, some with methods. Shreya, link will be here only. I'm going to share this Jupyter notebook. If multiple variables available, then you're going to get a drop-down list. Fennel to pick. Okay, so let me try that also. So let's say CUST is equal to Ravi. Okay, and when you do this, CU tab. Oops, okay, I didn't run it. I'm sorry. CU tab. Okay, so cust name. I'm sorry, cust name and dot and then tab. You're going to get the list of all the methods available for this variable. Isn't this cool? Yes, plus sign is for raw variables. Oh, no, you can do it for variables also, right? So plus sign, people, you can use it like this also. Cust name plus cust. Okay, so cust name dot all the methods. Let's try starts with. Okay, so S starts with M. So what do you think, people? What should I get when I run this? Yes, you're gonna get true. No, not Monty Python. I'm asking, is cus name starts with M, true or false? Okay, if I give small m, it's gonna return false because it is case sensitive. Okay, let me define another string. Reebok shoes. Okay, and I can run something called method called find shoes, and it's gonna return the position of where shoes start. Okay, so the shoe starts from the 7th position. So in Python, the string is stored along with the position. And in Python, position starts from 0, not from 1. So R's position is 0, E's position is 1, and so on. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to give shoe starts from 7th position. If it does not exist, okay, it's going to return -1. -1 means it could not find Nike in it. Yes, Hardik, you can do that also. Okay, it doesn't make sense, because many of the times you don't hard code in the code, right? Especially the data, but you can also do this. Okay, so again, some of the things that I'm showing, rest I want you to try it on your own, all the other methods. Let me try one more. Let me define the product 1. Let's say like this. Many times we get data which is padded with blanks. Okay, now to get rid of them, there is another method called strip. So strip will strip the blanks from both the end and return you only the data. Okay, you can also use L strip, R strip. L strip will strip from left hand side, R strip will strip from right hand side. Let's see its example. Okay, so let's say there is a string, let's call it S. Okay, and let's say 4%. Let me call it increment is 4%. Okay, now I just want to get rid of percentage sign. Okay, so what I can do, I can write inc.r strip, and again by default it strips the blanks, but you can give it your own character also, and it's going to strip that on that character. Can we use conditions on methods? Absolutely. Okay, so you can use product.find shoes, and product of find shoes is greater than 0. Okay, and then it's going to return true or false. If it finds it, it's going to return true. Otherwise, it's going to return false. So you can write conditions also, and or all these operators. You can write multiple conditions with and or not also. Yes, replace is also possible. Okay, Rakesh, try it out. Hardeep, I have not talked about indexing, so just wait. Okay, let me now talk about indexing. I think many people are eager to learn about this. So what is indexing, people? Indexing is just positioning. Okay, so forward positioning of a string starts with 0. Okay, and so many times we get a long string and we want to extract some substring out of it. And for that, knowing the position of all the characters come very handy. Okay, so there we can use indexing. So let me define product again. Let's call it Reebok sports shoes this time. Okay, and let's say length of product 19. Okay, now let's say I do indexing. How can I do indexing? Using square brackets, and then I give the position name here. So product 0. So give me that character which is at 0th position. So what does it give you, everyone? Yes, it's going to give you R. Okay, and similarly product 5, what do you think, people, it will give you? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not O, people, it starts with 0. It's going to give you K. Okay. String also has reverse indexing. Let's say if you want to go from the start from the end, not from the beginning. For that, you have reverse indexing, which starts from -1. Okay, so this is the position. S is at -1 position, E is at -2, O is at -3, and so on. So what does product -1 gives? It gives you S. Let's try one more thing. Product -4. What do you think, people, I will get? Yes, so -1, -2, -3, -4, I'm going to get H. Okay, so this was about indexing and forward and reverse indexing. Sometimes we also want to find slice of the string, substring out of it. For that, we can give it start and end also. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so let me give the start and end. 0, 5. So what do you think, people? What will I get? Start from 0, end at 5th. Yes. So we will not, so we'll start with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is the functionality of Python, people. The last index is not included. This is how Python has been designed. Because we start with 0, it does not include the last index. So it's gonna reach till 5th, but not include 5th. So it's gonna return us repo and not Reebok. And this concept goes for all the other things that we're gonna learn later on also. That whenever you give slicing of anything, it's not gonna return the last index. Okay, you can also give it like this, people. If you do not give the first position, it automatically takes it as 0. Okay, if you give something like this, not the end position, it's going to go till the end and give you everything starting from 5th till the very end. Okay, you can also use reverse indexing here. So start from -1, start from -4, go till the end. So what do you think, people, what I'll get here? Yes, -1, -2, -3, -4, start from -4, go to the end. Okay. And the last thing, you can also do steps while slicing. How? Let's look at that. Okay. So let's look at, so product, start from 0, go till 5th, but give me the characters after 2 steps. Okay, so what it's going to do, it's going to start from R, it's going to jump to the second character. Okay, because the step is 2, so it's going to jump 2 steps. So R, E, and then O. So it's going to return R, E, O. Okay, it becomes more clear if I'll give you this example. Nums is equal to, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 9. And let's say I want to find even numbers. How will I find even numbers? I will do nums, start from beginning, go till end. Okay, I don't know what is the end, go till end and do the, oh, not start from 0, start from 1, go till end and in the step of 2. How can I use it in different cells to end of programming? So save it in a variable and then use that variable in another cell, Rakesh. I'm not getting what you are saying. So this is the way, if you want to use this thing somewhere else, save it in a variable and then use that variable somewhere else. Hope this is clear, Rakesh. Okay, so how to find odd numbers? That's a homework, people. Try it out. The last command of today. Okay, so membership. So you can also, instead of finding, using the find method, you can also use in. Okay, so let me define a string. John, did you attend the meeting? Okay. And I can find out John in string. Okay, so in operator also works for membership. So what do you think, people? What should it return? Yes, so it's going to check and it's going to return true. Okay, so in operator can also be used to find things. Okay, so with that, people, I have covered most of all the commands that I wanted to cover in this session. I'm just going to spend 5 more minutes talking about Kaggle, and then we're going to end the session. Before that, I'm going to do a poll, ask you a poll question, and these are the 3 questions I want you to attempt as a homework. Okay, so let me give you, yes. So people, please go through the question and tell me the answer. Is it A, B, C, D, or E? People who are answering A, change change your approach. Even when we're gonna ask you question in exams or grad exams or some other in the async material, some of the MCQs, people don't just imagine if the first option is right, that is the right option. There can be, something like both this and this. So always go through all the options before answering. Yes, people, the right answer is E. Right? So I taught you forward indexing and reverse indexing. So Python can be extracted using forward indexing, 7 to 13, and using backward indexing using -18 to -12. So the right answer is both A and C. Okay, great. Okay, so we talked about operator. Okay, so this is just, I want to spend 5 minutes on it. Introduction to Kaggle, your home for data science. So what is Kaggle, people? It is a combination of, here you can find code, Python code, R code also, most of the time Python code, to solve some problem, data that is used to solve that problem, forums, discussion forums to discuss about that problem, competitions. If you given a good solution, you're going to win a competition. Courses, free courses available, and you. It's a made up word, if anybody is wondering. It rhymes with gaggle, a group of geese. It started as a competition site for machine learning problems. Okay, companies used to provide their problem statement along with anonymized data, and all over the world, the data scientists, data analysts used to give a crowd solution using various tools, techniques, and their knowledge, and give a model for prediction. Okay, so competition was Kaggle's first product. Companies post problems and machine learners compete to build the best algorithm. Right now, it is the world's largest community of data scientists and machine learning practitioners. It started as a small company in Australia. It has been taken over by Google. It's a crowdsourced platform to attract, nurture, train, and challenge data scientists and machine learning developers from all over the world to solve industry problems. It allows users to find and publish data sets, explore and build models in a web-based data science environment, work with other data scientists and machine learning engineers, and enter competitions to solve data science challenges. Competitions is a little far for you right now, but I'm hoping that by the end of this course, you should probably enroll in some competitions first for practice purpose, and then probably in an actual competition to show your skill set. Okay, so 5 million plus members people, 4 million plus uploaded solution, 300 plus competition, 50,000 open databases. So after this session today, I want you to sign in this website. It's pretty easy. You can use your LinkedIn or Gmail account and start, exploring the website. Probably right